Water. What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? We thank you for tuning into the Sports Life and Everything Else podcast, aka S.L.E.E.P, where sports, life, and entertainment collide. Presented by the away team and coming to you from the top shelf, produced by
Excellence!
My name is Michael Roberts, aka Mike on the mic, and I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Mr. Taylor Suber. Taylor, how you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. I was going to say howdy, but yeah, what's going on? How you doing?
Howdy, howdy, howdy,
Yeah,
ho.
absolutely. I'm doing great right now.
Beautiful. I'm glad that you're doing well. Taylor's always doing good. I'm usually doing good, so that makes for a great situation here on the set. And behind the scenes, we be laughing, we be joking, we be having a good time. But we are also proud to be joined here on the top shelf by our first guest in a while and the first guest on our new set. He's no stranger to S.L.E.E.P, though. He was an integral part of our first 105 episodes. That is none other than producer extraordinaire, Eric Manigault, a.k.a. Eric David on the mix.
Hey, Mike.
That's the name on IG.
Listen, I'm back on the top shelf.
Yes, sir.
As a guest. I'm honored to be with these guys. I've been riding with them from the beginning, and they've worked really hard, and they've come a long way. So, I just want to give it up for you guys because,
Thank you.
You guys been really...
I don't really work that hard, but you can.
Well, you know what?
It's hard work. Taylor
it's hard
downplays
work.
it, but for Taylor, it's kind of easy, his aspect of what we're doing and how we put things together. So,
Yeah, but it's nice to be on this end as a guest, and so I can get in it and talk some stuff today. So I thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
no doubt,
It's an honor.
Thank you for coming through.
I've watched you guys come up from this small to where you are today, and I just want to say that I'm very proud of these guys.
When I said we get a first guest, I said you're the only first guest.
Yeah.
That
You
was it.
Exactly.
Pay attention to the chemistry between these guys. Is just like no other, because some people try to pair themselves together with people that they just absolutely don't mix with. But these guys have been friends for years, and it just shows throughout the show. So, thanks, and I'm glad to be a friend, and it's an honor to be here. So let's get it started.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back to the top show, baby.
All right.
Subscribe to the YouTube page and follow us on Twitter and IG at Sleep is for You. That's S.L.E.E.P, I.S, the number 4, Y-O-U. Or listen to audio episodes wherever you find your podcasts. And by the way, if you're new to the show, feel free to go back and binge listen to our old episodes. There's some good content in there, trust me. Plus, you can see the growth of the show because we have come a long way. We started in 2019 and recorded through COVID till your boy got hit with a curveball and got sent up top for a little bit. But we're still here just doing what we do. Make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube page, like I said, because we trying to spread like Sweet Baby Ray's.
There you go.
Show love, show hate. We here for it all. Tell a friend to tell 2 friends about us. And don't forget, you can find us at sleepisforyou.net. Not .com anymore. sleepisforyou.net. We got robbed by them Asians, and they took over the .com, so we had to switch it up. That is the hub for all things sleep related. You can use links to access the show via the site. On some of our various outlets like YouTube, Spotify, Apple. If you use those and you have trouble finding us, go through our website, scroll down. You can click one of them links and it'll get you to where you want to go so you can listen to us. You can also use a link from the site to get to where we offer our sleep merch. And that is sleepisforyou.printify.me. That's S.L.E.E.P.I.S, the number 4 Y-O-U, just like you're following us. .printify, Printify.me. In today's episode, we'll be sharing our opinions on the recency bias that seems so prevalent nowadays. We'll be listing our top 5 albums we would want to have on a long road trip. And, of course, all that good sports talk that makes this the top shelf and keeps the good people tuning in. So, without any further ado, let's spin. So, we're talking about sports. We're talking about, what's kind of transpired over the past little while. We've had the draft happen. which is going to result in an influx of new players
NFL
going
draft.
into the NFL. Exactly, the NFL draft. Pardon me. And that's going to result in an influx of new players going into the NFL. But that also means that we have an influx of new talent at one of the most important positions in sports, which is the quarterback. We had, 4 or 5 quarterbacks go in the first round?
I think it was 5, yeah.
Yeah. And at least 3 or 4 of those went in the top 10. So that's a significant number. And if these guys pan out the way that they're projected, which, we know doesn't always happen, but if it goes that way, you have a good amount of talent that is being influxed and inundated into a league that's already full of a lot of talent. But for a lot of these guys, like I said, it's kind of a little dependent on some variables. A lot of these guys come out and they have a lot of talent. They have these projections. They have these analytics and these things that can be measured as far as like their high jump and their speed and their power when they throw the ball and things like that. But it's also important where they go and the situation they go into. So that brings us to what our opening question is in our sports discussion is, does the player make the team or does the team make the player? And when I'm talking about the team, the environment, the team that they come into, the situation that they come into, and it doesn't even just have to be the NFL draft. We got free agency going on, and guys is going to go places. So we're talking about fits with these guys. Whether you're talking about a guy like LeBron, who very well might be getting out of L.A., a guy like Paul George, we don't know exactly what's going to happen with him just yet. But I don't want to get too specific into players, but that's the question that I pose to us right now. And me personally, I think that obviously the environment has a lot to do with it, and the player's talent has a lot to do with it as well. But I think the environment might be a little more important, just because if you go into a situation where you have a good amount of players around you that are skilled, and you have a good coaching situation around you, they have a good culture, it's not very difficult to thrive. It's not very difficult to plug somebody in there, even somebody who doesn't have the best talent to do well in that situation, because you have what we would refer to as an infrastructure built around you to help you to succeed. Taylor, any thoughts on that?
No, it all depends on the player that you're talking about. Like, when I think about a player being bigger than like the quote unquote team, I think of somebody like Tom Brady. So it doesn't mean for everybody. Tom Brady left where he was, New England, went to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay was trash for over a decade. And as soon as he gets down there, they win the championship. Same thing with Peyton Manning. Left, Indianapolis, went to Denver. Denver was going through quarterback after quarterback, Kyle Orton and Tim Tebow and Jay Cutler. He comes right there. They were competitors, and they started to win, and then they won a couple years later. They got the Super Bowl twice, and then they won one. So some players, everyone's not built like that, though. So everyone's different. In basketball, it's a little bit different, too, because they're like right now they're going all over the place, but right now it seems like some of these younger guys are trying to stay. What you talked about this last episode, where they're just trying to stay and create a culture. Like you see what happened with the Thunder. When they do interviews all together. So they're trying to start something where no one else does. And I think that's cool. So he scored 25 points and he scored 38. But he scored 4, he scored 6. He took a charge. We're all here getting interviewed. So they're starting something that's what the team, that's what they want. This is what a team. We're a team. Same thing with the Steelers. They keep the same coach for 10, 15, 20 years. They've had 3 coaches in the last 6, 7 decades. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they have a culture up there to where, all right, we're not going to bring in that kind of a player, but we're going to bring in this kind of a player. So it all depends on where you're talking about, like, if you talk about the Yankees, that's big money right there. You go to the Yankees, you making big money, or they grab you someplace else to make big money, which means the expectations are going to change, and you got to cut your beard off. You know what I mean? So it all depends on where you're going in any of these sports. Some of these places don't have any culture. Yeah, some of these places don't have any culture, but they'll try to grab a player to give them culture. So Tom Brady's like an example. I think like a Kobe Bryant. They were, remember when all those players came and signed with Kobe. Have you spoke to Kobe? No, we haven't talked to him yet. Like that Lakers is different. That was a different type of Lakers. Once Shaq and them moved on, that was Kobe's team. Now it's different right now. So it all depends on how good the player is, how much clout he has. Does he have a couple of rings or something like that? Not just one, but a couple of rings. You know what I mean? Or getting your team very, very far off the playoffs. So somebody like a Paul George, he don't really have no clout. You know what I mean? Somebody maybe like a Kawhi Leonard, very good player. He don't really have no clout like that.
At this moment,
not at these moments. You know what I mean? A Dame Lillard, all these guys that are really, really good players, they don't have that. Maybe but Giannis, maybe he does. You know what I mean? Because he stayed in one place. He was there since he was 19 years old. His whole family came over. Ring. You know what I mean? So certain players, it depends. It's about longevity. Are you going to put in the work to be here and help these people that drafted you? You know what I mean? Gave you money and stuff like that. They did give you money, and they said, "Listen, we're going to work with you. We're going to give you a contract." So it all depends on the longevity and how good you are. Everybody can't do it. Like Ant Edwards, he's in the beginning of his career. We'll see what happens 5 years from now.
Now, what you're talking about right now is more established players who've been in the league for a while, who have, like you said, a level of clout, who have a level of history of winning or performing at a high level. So that when they're brought into these situations, it's kind of like an understanding that this guy is going to be integrated into what we do. Yeah. But even for that particular situation, I feel like it takes a certain level of maturity on the player's part, as Taylor was saying. And I sum that up as saying it breaks down to their accomplishments and their age. Because the higher you get in age in whatever league you're playing in, the closer you get to being done, depending on how you rank in that sport. A guy like Kevin Durant, he'll probably end up getting 20 plus years in the league if he decides he wants to play that long and injuries permit. But not everybody gets 20 years in the league. So, the older you get, the closer you get to the end. And the closer you get to the end, if you haven't won it all yet, the closer you get to not getting it. So that's why the older you get, you decide, you know what, that's what it is. Also, it breaks down to your accomplishments, because when you're young in your career, certain accomplishments might be a little higher on your list than others. You might want to win the MVPs. You might want to win the All-NBA teams. You might want to win the All-Defensive players. But the later you get in your career, you're like, wow, I still didn't get that ring yet, but I got all these other things. Let me figure it out and try to get that ring, which is, like Taylor was saying, in a situation like Dame's in, or a situation like
Luka. You want to talk about Luka?
Yeah, well,
he's kind of been in the playoffs, you know what I mean, in and out, you know what I mean, but now, so a player like him or Devin Booker, who's been in Phoenix when they were trash, and now they're bringing in players to help him and stuff like that. There's different, you know what I mean, like a lot of guys that have been on the team for a long, they're trying to establish some type of a culture there, but you know what I mean, it's not that easy.
You know what? I think it goes a little deeper. Like, let's think of it from a business standpoint.
Okay.
Because in the end, this all depends on your ability to fill seats. Mm-hmm. And that's dependent on whether your team is winning, because you could have a great player on your team, and if you're not winning, you're not putting these butts in seats, and you're not selling tickets, you're not selling merch. So I don't know, it feels kind of biased to say it's in certain situations. Now, if you're on a winning team or a winning market like LA.
Because the market makes a difference too when you're talking about small market versus big market.
I think that depends on it too. It depends on the market that you're playing out of, because if you're playing in Los Angeles, Philadelphia, New York, possibly Miami, Houston, you're expected. Their players are expected to do certain things. Now, for instance, San Antonio kind of sucked this year, right?
They did.
All right, but I've been down to San Antonio, and they loved that rookie.
They're a budding team.
So in a way,
you can see where Vic's going.
In a way, Vic has made this team interesting because I've seen their reaction. Even though the team sucks, I've been in bars watching San Antonio Spurs games, and they just love him.
Yeah, no doubt.
So in this case, I believe the young guy has made the team. And then as they build and become a better team, then it can be more about the San Antonio Spurs. But I'm just saying, from a personal standpoint, from what I've seen being down in San Antonio, it was about him. Yeah. He makes the team. He's on the news every night, him in that big cowboy hat, and he's like 7'8", 1,000 or however tall he is. So.
Yeah,
7'4".
His security team gave Britney Spears that work.
Yeah, that's a fact. She got too
Yeah, I
close.
mean, yeah,
She thought it was sweet,
Wow.
and they had to mug her and get her out the way. So,
So
excuse
it
me,
would be
young
safe
lady,
to
this
say
man is
that
trying to get to where he's trying to go.
It would be safe to say that he makes that team then.
Yeah, he
right?
does make that team.
Okay.
As of right now, because there was nothing there before him.
No doubt.
For a couple of years, after Kawhi left, that team was in the toilet. You know what I mean? So it all, like I said, every once in a while you will get a rookie, maybe every 8 to 10, 12 years, where you be like, all right, this guy, he's going to go to that culture and just cultivate everything.
He kind of shapes everything where everything's built around him.
Where you might get somebody like Anthony Bennett, who was a number 1 overall pick, and he was out of the league in 3 years. So it doesn't happen all the time. So we can't say that these quarterbacks that just got drafted, one of them they're just not that good. But maybe the last quarterback who was drafted, what's his name, Bo Nix. What if he's the one? You know what I mean, so you don't know. Like I said, everything
that's the argument
takes time.
for the Atlanta Falcons picking up Michael Penix when they already had Kirk Cousins. Is, are you going to pass on the guy that you think could potentially be your franchise quarterback because you just signed Kirk Cousins in the offseason to a $100+ million contract?
What about when we signed Jalen Hurts?
That was a little bit different because they already had Carson Wentz, and they thought Carson Wentz was going to be that guy. But then they started. But I think Eagles thought that he was. There was something weird about him. They liked him, but they said something's not right, which is why they drafted Jalen Hurts. And then you saw that once he came in, he kind of like broke down. Like as soon as Jalen Hurts came in, he kind of like, oh my God, I got to do it. And he was terrible that year. And they said, see, that's what we thought. We thought that there was something wrong with his mental makeup. Like remember, when you go into a new job and you're new, there's gonna be a lot of eyes on you, just looking like, is this guy good? Is this guy is he going to be able to do it? You know what I mean? Everyone's looking at you, not just the fans or people on TV. You got people that drafted you, like, we saw him out in the college thing. We brung him in here, but now we're starting to think, well, maybe and they have a right to say, well, maybe we have buyer's remorse. You know what I mean? They got Jalen Hurts, and you saw it happen. Carson Wentz was a disaster. It happens a lot where you think somebody is that guy, and then you go, well, he ain't that guy. It happens a lot. Just not just Philly with Carson Wentz and Ben Simmons. It happens other places to where they'll have somebody who they think is that dude, and they say, well, maybe he's not that dude. You know what I mean? Like maybe we put too much pressure. Maybe he's not built like that. Everyone's not built the same way. Everybody's not built like a Dirk Nowitzki who was there for 20 years. And cultivated that team, and then people love him. That's why he's a statue down there. So everybody can't get a statue. You know what I mean? There's only, I know they're doing a lot of statues right now.
A lot of jersey retirements.
But there's only a certain amount of players. Like there's not gonna be too many Larry Birds out there. Yeah, not too many Larry Birds, not too many Magics. As soon as Magic came to the Showtime League, even though that team was already good, he was kind of like that was. Even though Kareem was there, Kareem won the greats. It was kind of like his team in a sense, and as he was a young man, it became his team, the Showtime Lakers. Okay. So it all depends. It just depends on what player, where you going, and does it fit and everything. That's just what it comes down to.
So ultimately, it's a concoction. It's a crucible of things, if you will. It's not one particular thing or the other. It's not necessarily the talent per se. It's not necessarily the environment. It's a casserole of things put together. We'll go with that.
Yeah, like I said, you never know. Like you said, you don't know what a person is made of. You don't know. Like Steph Curry, that was a perfect place for him to go to in Golden State. Whereas, do you think he would have the same career in New York? New York is terrible. New York, everything they touch, it turns to crap. You know what I mean? So you don't know. Would Steph Curry had the same career? You would like to think so because he's that good. But I love Steph. I don't know. You know what I mean? He went to Golden State. They were a toilet dumpster fire out there, and he got them to where they got a bunch of championships. So it all depends. Every story is different. You can be a really, really good player and go to. We'll never see it. You can go to another team and it might not work out for you. Yeah. Vince Young went to Tennessee with Jeff Fisher, and his career flamed out in less than 4 years. You know what I mean? So, but what if he'd went to another team? Would it have been better? Would somebody been like, you know what, Vince, we see you have a talent that we've never seen before. We're going to try to put everything. We're going to put this whole team around you. But they didn't do that down there, and he flamed out. But if he'd have went to Bill Belichick, if he'd have went to one of those coaches back in the day, would it have worked out better for him? We don't know. If he'd have went to Mike Tomlin, we don't know.
And what was it you were saying offline about Matt Leinart?
Matt Leinart went to Carolina. I'm sorry, not to Carolina, to Arizona. It just wasn't a good fit. Whereas I think Tennessee was setting up they brought in his offensive coordinator, Norm Chow, and they some kind of way the draft picks got mixed up. They didn't trade up, and he went to Arizona or something. In Arizona, he was always hurt, and he just was never good. And Kurt Warner took his job. You know what I mean? So it all and then Kurt Warner ended up being like somebody who they love down there. So it all depends on the player, who it is, where you're from, and the timing, everything. You just can't say, all right, this rookie right here, whoever gets drafted in the NBA, he's going to go to that team and cultivate that team. He might not be that good.
It's not really like a question of which thing is quote-unquote better, the environment or the player, because if the player steps in and he has talent, but he doesn't have no talent to step up to that moment of the environment that he's gotten into, then you're not going to really have the success that you want. But, you know, it's really about that fit. It's really about everything coming together right. So
about the fit, about the GM, about the coach, the players, everyone. You know, like MJ went on to the Chicago and they were trash. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? What if MJ would have went to Portland where Sam Bowie went? Would it have been the same? We don't know. You know what I mean? Like we have no idea. It all depends on where you're going at the time. You know what I mean? I want to say it's kind of like luck. You never know.
If Portland would have listened to Bob Knight, they would have picked Michael Jordan.
Yeah, huh?
If Portland would have listened to Bob Knight, they would have picked Michael Jordan.
You know, it happened. I mean, if Portland would have been smart, they'd have took Kevin Durant instead of Greg Oden. I remember that back in the day.
That's a fact.
Everybody's talking about Kevin Durant. But at that time, you know, we got to get a big man. Yeah. And they knew that Greg Oden had some injury problems, so we're going to take him. Kevin Durant was second, and you see what happened. You know what I mean, Kevin Durant was in a perfect situation when he went to Seattle, which went to OKC. You know what I mean? So it all depends on who it is. You just can't put a top player and say, he's going to cultivate us. Well, is he made of that? You got to see if he's made of that. Everyone can't be a Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, who was a 6th-round pick who had to dig and get everything out the mud and stuff like that. Like they got him in the bottom, and he ended up being one of the best. So it don't have to be a top draft pick. It can be somebody you draft in the 3rd or 4th round. It can be somebody undrafted.
Tom Brady technically got into this situation on some Willie Beeman stuff. Like the quarterback got smacked out.
He got in,
and he never looked back.
Never looked back.
Oh man!
So it all depends on who the actual player is. You know what I mean, we've seen so many top players that we think, they're going to be that guy, and within 6-7 years, we're like, I don't know. I mean, we thought Trevor Lawrence was going to be that guy.
It's kind of yet to be determined.
Yeah.
So who's making teams these days? Who's just
as far as players?
Yeah.
Who's making teams?
Besides.
Obviously, you brought up Vic. He's a good name. He's going to make San Antonio and make NBA history as you know it stands, as long as he can avoid injury. This guy that they're talking about, Caleb Williams, that just got drafted by Chicago, #1.
You can't even say him though. I've heard a lot of people that say he's trash.
I'm saying that it's potential because the situation that he's going to is really set up for him to succeed with the skill position players they have, the receivers they have around him. The offensive line is not that bad. They can build on the defense. So that's a situation that he could possibly grow into to where you can see Chicago be something in a couple of years, potentially.
Mm-hmm. We've seen a lot of ready-made stuff that's like, it's perfect, and it don't go.
Ant Edwards, he kind of is the engine that makes Minnesota go. You know, he's able to make up for a lot of the not smartest decisions that they make when they're on the court, as far as, you know, Cat with his fouls and Rudy Gobert getting caught out on an island, getting put on skates by Luka Doncic, and you know, they just kind of do things. But they still kind of young.
You got Bryce Harper.
But would you say he's a guy that makes the Phillies or made the Phillies?
Phillies weren't nothing before he got the Phillies were a toilet dumpster fire before he got signed.
Oh man,
they was trash. They was trash when he first got here too. Though.
Yeah, they were trash, but at least people were coming. Oh, okay, we got one of the best baseball players. Now no one was going to the games to see the Tommy Joseph and Nick Williams and a bunch of just scrubs, you know what I mean, that weren't going to, the John Mayberry Jr., these guys were, Cody Ashley, like these guys were trash, you know what I mean? As soon as Bryce Harper got there, okay, all right, now I'm going to go see, we're not that good, but we can see the potential. So it all depends, like I said, it all depends on who the player is at the time of his career. Remember, Bryce Harper was 25 or 26 years old when he came here. That's usually when major league players start to do that turn, you know what I mean? Right. So it all depends. Look at Shohei Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, LA Dodgers was good, but all of people went there to see him as a guy. And he's not even pitching this year, but he's just a mammoth of a player that can hit and
Shohei,
and pitch.
that's a guy you could say could.
So that's
could
mind
make
you,
a
that team already had Mookie Betts on the team, who's one of the better players in the major league. But people might not know who he is. You know what I mean? I know who he is because I follow baseball, but there's certain people that are really, really good, but they might not give the eyes to them like that. So everyone might not be quote unquote cultivating or change a landscape of a team. So
that's a pretty good list of team makers, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just across the board.
There's more, but I can go across.
Hey, Pat Mahomes.
Now,
Pat Mahomes, of
He's
course,
a team maker.
He's a team maker.
He
take him
they got
out
to
of
the bowl how
Kansas
many
City,
times
they're
the
gonna be
past few
trash.
years?
But if you put him on the Jets or to one of these teams, he's probably gonna give them 7 or 8 more wins if you take him to like a team that's not that good, because that's just how good he is, and he's marketable. He's people like him. He's light skinned. You know, he got the right complexion right now. You know what I mean? So he got the voice. You know what I mean? So you look at him like, oh, and he got the hair. You know, he just got that look.
Oh,
to
so
where
I'm not even gonna say that. Yeah, I mean, I would say that's what defines a team maker, is somebody who getting him on your team is going to make a significant difference in the amount of wins that you can expect to get the next season. Not necessarily, because getting those wins is what's going to translate to more excitement around your team, which is going to translate to more marketing, better marketing, more eyes on your team, which is going to translate to more money in your pockets, more money for the owner. That's what it's all about.
bottom line.
Exactly.
It's about the bottom line, putting
Gotta stay in the black,
in
baby.
Seats.
Got to stay in the black.
Yeah, that's what they got to do.
You don't want to be in the red. You want to be in the black. That's a little business talk for you. Anywho, E,
what's up?
You're in music. You have been producing for a long period of time. You are at a point right now where you do your own thing, but talking about the music industry and also talking about sports. When we talk about our athletes, when we talk about current topics, current events, and things like that. I was thinking about this maybe like last week or 2 weeks ago. It's like, yo, why is everything that happens now like the biggest thing that ever happened?
The best ever, yeah.
The best thing that ever happened. Like, what's up with this recency bias?
It's the best thing that ever happened to them.
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody
but
has
like,
their version of the best thing that ever happened. It's just the best thing that's happening. Then it's the best thing that's happening right now. It's not the best thing ever.
Is it because these people just don't, think about the fact that things happened before, or don't remember things that happened before, don't realize
this goes no further than your own mind
it throws
as a
me
man.
off.
No, listen, hear me out. This goes no further than your own thoughts. Think about when you were young.
Gotcha.
And how you thought everything was the biggest thing, like your parents don't know nothing about it. Think about when you first started listening to rap music. You thought it was the biggest thing, but to your parents, all we were doing in hip hop was stealing from the artists that they used to listen to, samples,
snatching up old jazz samples and flipping them and making it different.
But it was the biggest thing to us. So it's so opinionated.
Is that just like a thing of the times? Like whatever's going on right now is what's going on right now?
If you keep up with the trends and the Joneses.
I'd like to ask like an older person who like in like their 80s, 90s, like if this is how it was when they were younger. Like if we have anybody who's listening who's in that age group, send us a message. Let us know. Like,
you know what?
I want to know. Comment on the episode.
I guarantee you.
In their time, was that the way that people were? What's happening now is the biggest thing that's ever happened.
I guarantee that was the biggest thing. I guarantee. You know what? It doesn't change over time. None of what we're going through is new. No. Now,
so what about an appreciation for what came before you?
It's no newer than the sun or the moon setting during the day.
That would be another question I would have to ask. Did people who were older have more of an appreciation for what came before them and historically what happened? Although a lot of what they tell us history-wise can be a little gray. But Taylor, what you think about it?
Well, people you have this in your hand right now. So everything right now, like when I go out, I don't record stuff, but people they're so fixated on recording stuff that they can't even take in the moment. Like if you're seeing like some great fireworks, I take it into my head like, yo, this is dope. You know what I mean? Where people, oh man, these are the best fireworks ever. Oh my God. They don't even remember when they was 8, 9, 10, 12 years old when they saw them first firecrackers blown up on the street or something like that. So everyone right now is kind of like living in the moment, and I think it's kind of weird how you're taking. Like if you work 365 days or 360 days a year, but you go on a 4 or 5 day vacation, but you take 20 pictures and you're posting those same 20 to 28 pictures all year on your quote unquote Instagram. It's kind of like you.
Well, you know what? Our attention span as humans has been broke down to 30 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
I mean, now that you mentioned that phone, nothing actually even lasts.
Yeah.
How many records right now from the last 5 years that you're putting on is like, this is going to be a classic forever?
Yeah.
Stuff comes and goes, so that's why it's the big. It could possibly, because with our brain cells being broke down to 30 seconds at a time, it's going to be the best thing right there for 30 seconds, because the dopamines in everybody's brains is programmed for the next big thing. That's why they got to keep scrolling every time, because you know what they're looking for, the next best thing. And you know, I give it to Sade. She said this is why she says she stopped touring, because no one lives in the moment anymore.
No.
She says I do these shows and everyone wants to pull out their camera phone versus just enjoying
seeing it and enjoying what's going on. And this young boy had a post, I think was on IG recently, and he was talking about how he feels like his generation and generations after him are just not going to be able to appreciate things like the people in the 80s did and the people in the 90s did. And I think he was inspired to say that based off watching like the Freaknik documentary, because he was
but you know
it's
what?
an interesting way to come to that conclusion, but it's the point is the same. A lot of them are out and they're on their phones, and they got their phones up, holding them up with the lights on, and they're watching it through their phones, and they're trying to capture the moment to share it with people and share it with their friends and be like, I was there, instead of literally just being there and enjoying what's going on.
But you know, it will fade. This is why you literally cannot worry about this stuff right now, because you know what? This is the thing now, and I believe at one day my grandkids are going to be looking at stuff and be like, why did all y'all just look inside of y'all phones and take pictures of yourself? That's stupid. And it's going to happen.
It's going to revert.
It's going to eventually happen.
Everything going to crash and it's going to revert.
You know, now, because of course I'm a little older than I'm older than you guys. So I've been seeing things. You got us about
a couple years.
Right. So I've seen things from the early 80s all the way up to now. I've watched a lot of this stuff develop. And I can just remember every time there was the next big thing. There was the next big hell. When Back to the Future came out, we thought cars were going to be flying by 2015 or 20. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. People can barely drive, and people, now that we got phones, people can barely walk across the damn street. So you think we're going to have flying cars? It ain't happening. So, but you know, not to get off the subject, but it just depends on the time. It can be the next big thing. Remember, there was a time when there was no news, and there was the town news guy who just came in, and he got up, and everybody came into the hall, and he read what was going on that probably happened a month ago, but that was the next big thing.
That was the next advancement.
That was the next big thing. So you know what? Let everyone have their time, because eventually time moves on. You're not going to be as young for as long as you're going to be older. So for those kids, you know, I say, if this is the next best thing for you, this is the next best thing for them. For that time. So it depends. You know what? You could just say it depends on where you are in your life. But that's just my personal opinion.
I tried to spoil it, you know, for people that are, you know, young right now.
Right.
This might be the best thing for them, but I don't think as people, you know, as we older, y'all don't know what y'all talking about like me. I'm not going to fight you if you want to say that some of these players are the best. Like I was 9, 10, 11, 12 years old watching MJ. So now I can only imagine a 9, 10, 12-year-old seeing Steph or LeBron or all these other players.
And or listening to music
MJ.
That's He's just a story.
Yeah, he's
just like a legend to you, like Kareem might be to us.
Yeah, but they listen to music that might like, oh my God, I'm gonna be listening to I don't even know who the person is right now that's making these songs right now. I'm gonna be listening to for 20 years from now. Whereas we're like, man, that ain't no good. But you know, it happens. Like you said,
and they actually might.
Yeah, but they might. 20 years from now, they might be listening to Lana Del Rey. That might be a person that they love. Look at Taylor knowing names and Olivia Rodriguez. As soon as Taylor's mind starts to go, I know what these kids like and what
Taylor's
they listen to and stuff
pop.
like that. And 20 years from now, that might be their Mariah Carey or something like that.
You know,
that might be. You don't
always
know.
And it always goes back to where were you at in that particular part?
Yeah.
Because a lot of my playlists is derived on where I was at that particular time.
Exactly.
It could have been a happy time. It could have been a good time in my life.
Yeah.
And I loved that music. And there were some times when it was a crappy time, and I couldn't tell you crap about what came out that year, or maybe being in the military.
Or you have something that really connects you to that time because
there you go.
Something sad that came out that you was going through something real rough. And it's like you bond with it. It's like a soul tie with the music as well.
Man, when I remember when I was like 9 or 10 years old and I used to watch a lot of videos, and I was so fascinated by two short niggas with Hennessy jerk talking about some ain't no such things as halfway crooks. I was like this, like whoa, like, and that's so to me that's one of the best hip hop songs because I remember as a kid seeing it, and then after I think I heard it on the radio first, saw the video, and when I was a kid, like wait a minute, you can have a song and have a video at the same time playing it. Like nowadays people won't know what that. They're like, what are you talking about? But back in the day, I was like, oh, this song is big. Then if they playing it on the radio and they playing it on rotation on TV, this is the best thing ever. And I remember watching it. And I remember seeing Kobe. He was talking about how because he's a couple years old enough. He said when they were getting in the car driving to practice, that's what they were listening to. He said, I'll never forget that. Me and my homies waking up 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and listening to Shook Ones.
Right now,
you know what I mean? So that's what it is. And what are these kids are doing right now? This is it for them. Being on their phone, doing whatever it is. That's their Mobb Deep. That's their Nas when I first heard.
Exactly.
That's what it is right now to them.
This is the best thing. And then they're going to get older, and guess what? There's going to be the kids coming up under them. And they're gonna be like, no, this is what it was then.
This is the thing.
And they're listening to that stuff. Like you never know. Auto tune might get really boring.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be like, but why did everybody sound like robots at that time? But guess what? It was the best. It was the best thing at the time. But one day it's going to come back. You know, hopefully, God willing, it's going to come back to real talent, not CAAs, which I call computer-aided artists, because this is why it's the best time for right now because you can get away with it. But as humans, we eventually get bored with it.
I was about to say we got AI now, so everybody's gonna be using AI to help them generate the best thing, the best song.
And guess what? And soon they're going to figure that out. Soon that's going to dry out. They're going to be like, oh man, you're going to figure it out. People, please don't give humanity their props because our brains are better than these computers. Even though these computers, but who programmed them? We did them. So they're only as smart as the input that goes into them.
That's a fact.
You get bored with stuff. So if it's the best for you right now, damn it, hold on to those memories.
Exactly.
Hold on to it. It's going to be the best. But I tell you what, you're going to be young for that short of a time, and so you better hold on to those memories.
Hold on to it, man.
I don't knock them because you get a lot of people that be trying to knock these kids. Oh, they don't know what they talking about. They don't know. Yeah. I remember when I first let my mom listen to NWA. That first one. Yeah. Well, no, in fact, it wasn't NWA. It was Eazy-E. Easy Does It. Jeebus Crow. And she thought I lost my mind.
Yeah. I remember when I first played, I guess it was Biggie's second album. My dad was like, "What in the hell are you listening to?" Like, and my dad liked Biggie, but he's like, "Yo, this nigga is talking reckless." You know what I mean? One shot for cheering, something. I'm disappearing, and then my dad turned off. You know, son, these guys are just rap. Like if I listened to rap, he would turn it off and just give me like a quote, not a sermon, but like he would just give me like real talk. Then he would turn it back on, be like, "You know, these guys are not telling the truth, right? You know, these guys are just fabricating stuff. I don't want this." So when these kids listen to music, it means a lot to them when they're listening to it or when they're watching sports, and you know, because they're 13 or 16 or even when you're in your early 20s, you're in college or you kind of getting out of your formative years, and now you're about to be an adult, and now you're listening. Oh man, I got my first car. I just graduated my first semester of college, and this was the song that was playing in the background. You know what I mean? And I'm always gonna remember that for the next 20, 30 years. Just like certain white people, they love when Journey comes on. You know what I mean? Or Foreigner, like they They just get hyped. Sorry, I'm stereotyping. You know what I mean? But yeah, I get it. You know,
Listen, I was in the military, and you're around everybody, so any song could be that song at any time.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
So that's just what it is.
That one
I mean,
that
when I
gets
was a
you.
kid and I first heard Metallica, I was like, oh, and I thought it was for me. And I was like, why white people? Like, I didn't know. Like, I remember when I'm listening, like when I was a kid, I used to listen to everything. And I was like, oh, this is dope. All right, Nevada, okay, this is dope. You know what I mean? Oh, this is not for me. Well, I still like it. You know what I mean? So, and I'm always going to listen to it as the time goes on and stuff. So these kids are just, you know, like I said, the phone is like whatever they listen to on the TikTok where there's these little songs that are like with 15 or 20 seconds, that's going to live with them forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is, and you know that's cool. I mean, we had DVDs, and we thought that was gonna be the best thing ever, and that pretty quickly
then Blu-ray.
Blu-ray came out and everything like that.
You see that? It looked like you really there.
Just like people that are 10 years old, remember when Betamax came out? You know what I mean?
gosh.
They thought that was gonna be the new wave, and it wasn't. You know what I mean? So everyone has their little thing. Yeah, a lot of things. They come and they go, and then something else comes brand new. You know what I mean? They might have something where we put in our head. We don't need Spotify. You just got a chip in your head. You know what I mean?
And it just starts playing
and
music
just start playing music on your mind. You know what I mean? Nobody ever thought that we would have everyone would have these 20 years ago. You know what I mean? And everyone does have one. That you don't even need CDs no more. Your CD can be on your phone or on your tablet or whatever, or something like that.
Well, hey, I was on Bookface a couple of days ago, and I seen a post that somebody shared about something about they grew up with Pogs. And I had a flashback to when I was a kid, and I used to go up to the store at the mall and get Pogs and get the little metal slammers, and you had your little tube with your Pogs in them, and you played with people, and I thought it was going to be like that forever. And I think the next year or two was out of here.
It was gone.
It was something else.
It was a fad. Yeah, it just happened, and I think they're not even worth anything now. Like a lot of stuff that we think, it's going to be worth something 20. It ain't worth nothing.
No doubt.
It's worth $0.00.
Ain't
So
that
sad.
the way it go? Sometimes it's grand opening, grand closing, but you know what I'm saying? If you got something that's a good situation, is a good product, then it can last the test of time.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Like I said, it all depends on where you are at that point in your life.
Well, y'all, it's time for top 5.
What?
And our top 5 this week, I'm gonna set the scene for y'all. We're listing the top 5 albums we would want on a long road trip. So I'm gonna give y'all a scenario. Me and my man Jeff, he's not here right now. He has been featured on the show once or twice. He came through, showed out with us, talked a little bit. But my man Jeff, let's say that we are sailing up, and we about to plan a trip out west to go visit my man Kyle out Pittsburgh. Shout out to my man Kyle. Shout out to my man Jeff. So we gonna go visit Kyle out Pittsburgh. That's a good, 5-hour, 5.5-hour drive to get out there. I've never been yet, but I'm looking forward to going.
You never been to Pittsburgh before?
Never been to Pittsburgh before.
Wait a second. Hold on. Time out.
I
gotta throw the flag because you hooked me up with one of your front homies. Paul. You hooked me up with one of your boys when I had to drive out there.
Well, we gonna keep the details of that story on the low. But that was my man. He lives out there now.
But how I go see your man out in Pittsburgh? And you ain't been out to Pittsburgh.
You found yourself out there. You was in a jam.
And he helped me out.
And I connected you to a situation to where things got smoothed out for you.
But don't that sound crazy?
That is kind of crazy, though. Yeah.
Okay, I got to get to Pittsburgh.
In the same state.
I'm just saying, I could be wrong.
It's a long ride, but you're in the same state.
I know there's certain restrictions right now. I do have to get, certain permissions.
Okay,
and things like that
I got you. No,
even
say no more.
Out of lines. But anywho, we getting off topic.
Yeah.
I we'll get back to it. So boom, me and my man, hypothetically, planning a trip out to Pittsburgh, 5.5-hour drive or so, and we got to come up with 5 albums to listen to during this period of time. So we're
not doing the best of all time.
That's what
people like to do, and that's like weird because everyone's going to use the same 6, 7, 12, and that's just really really corny. There's nothing that I want to use, but I don't want to use that word.
We keeping it low this week,
and it starts with a G word. But it starts with a G. But we want to like, what are you? We want to put you in a mode in a car where you got full tank of gas, you got your CDs or your phone, whatever. You about to ride out. as soon as you leave, I don't listen to the radio, but once you leave that, once back in the day, the radio would just go gone, and now you got to either listen to the radio to the next station or you're gonna put some CDs on.
Yeah.
What music are you gonna put on when you on that long ride? Whether you're going to see your girl, you're going to see grandma, you're going on a trip to where you're moving or something like that, and you basically got a haul of stuff in the back of your car, and you going to the next spot or something like that, or you going to a wedding and you don't feel like flying, or you got blacklisted and you can't fly no more. I don't know, but you're gonna be on a long road trip, and you got to listen to some music that's going to keep you entertained. You got to stay, you got to stay with it, because you got to make sure, whether you're driving at nighttime or during the day, you want to make sure that you're with it while you're driving, and nothing like good music.
Exactly.
Now, a lot of people are watching TV on the road, and that's like very dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
But music always keeps you, because it'll take you back, just like we talked about. Like, I remember when this song came out back in 1998. Me and Charlene, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, me and Charlene, yeah. I'm glad I don't know nobody named Charlene. I'm just using a name.
But your mother's name, Darlene.
Yeah, Darlene. Yeah, that's cool. But
I got a couple.
So we're gonna get to our fives. I'll start. E can jump in, and we'll finish it up with Taylor. So, boom. This is how my list is gonna go. My number 5 is when we starting the trip, and by the time we get to number 1, we getting closer to our destination. So number 5, I get there and pick up the homie so we can make this move, and I'm throwing on T.I. versus T.I.P.
okay.
All right.
Thing about my list is I'm gonna make it so that it's all kind of themed albums. So that's gonna be how we started off. T.I. versus T.I.P. I think that's a pretty solid album. I can't remember exactly the year that came out. I feel like it was like 07, 08 though.
It came out after King though, right?
Yeah, that was after King.
Okay, all
Because
right.
King is my favorite T.I. album,
is
so I
dope.
definitely know when that came out. But I think that was his 4th album, because he had I'm Serious, he had Trap Music, he had King, and then he had T.I. versus T.I.P. But that's a solid joint. It's not my favorite of T.I.'s, but it's still a good work. And the other thing about my list is everything you can play front to back. It's no skips. It's all stuff that I would consider classic music.
That's the key. No skips, including the skits and everything too.
Exactly.
No skips. Just let it ride.
Just front to back. Let the whole thing go. And that's one thing I like about that album. He does have a couple skits mixed in there. Skits can make an album, man. We done got away from that, but skits can definitely make an album. You go back to some of them 90s joints, some of the funniest parts of them albums was the skits. Number 4, we're going to keep it ATL, keep it Dirty South, but it's going to be 2 Chainz. Pretty Girls Like Trap Music. It's a solid joint, man. It's a little over an hour, just like the T.I. versus T.I.P. joint is a little over an hour. So boom, we done already got 2 hours of the drive out of the way by the time we get to the end of the Pretty Girls Like Trap Music joint. But that joint is just the vibe, and from start to finish, the Riverdale Road joint is hard. The joint he got with the Migos on there is hard. The joint he got with Gucci Mane on there is hard. The joint he got with Nicki on there is hard.
Blue Cheese, that's my joint, man.
Yeah. So two Chainz got a nice situation on Pretty Girls Like Trap Music.
Yeah, I remember that. See, that C was actually pretty dope. Yeah.
And that's my classic of his. 4 a.m. It's a vibe. Rolls Royce Itch. Burglar Bars, the last track on that joint is hard. With Monica,
3 a.m. or 4 a.m. with the
4
Travis
a.m.
Scott.
Yeah.
That's almost dope.
Yup. And then the intro Saturday night, that joint is hard too. It got repurposed by your man Domo Genesis and used for his intro, but that joint is hard too. All right, so number 3, if you're a fan of the show, if you listen to the show, you'll know I'm a Currency fan, so I had to get some Currency in there. So my man is famous for having shorter projects, 20, 25-minute, half-hour joints. But I was able to find one. It's 49 minutes, and that's the Drive-In Theater Part 2. I'm still upset that he can't stream the Drive-In Theater Part 1, but I understand sample clearances and stuff like that. Things just don't fly. Plus, he got a lot of skits on there from movies that they not gonna let that ride. So, but Part 2 is hard. Part 2 is dope. It's not better than Part 1, but it's a solid offering for something I can get on a streaming platform, unless I'm on YouTube Music like Taylor, because Taylor can get anything. But so the Drive-In Theater Part 2, that's gonna be my number 3, and that's when I'm popping in after 2 Chainz and T.I. versus T.I.P. I shouldn't say popping in. That's what I'm looking up on my phone because I'm streaming. I'm not talking about CDs right now. So number 2, we're gonna take it a little outside of what people may, famously know me for liking, and we're gonna take it to a little brother album called The Minstrel Show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Classic, yeah.
That joint is hard, man. 53 minutes long, and from start to finish, that's a good theme album. And that's a joint that'll keep you entertained from start to finish. Shout out to them for the 2 joints on there I bang with the most is probably Hiding Place and Loving It, the joint with Joe Scudder. But they got more than a few hard tracks on there.
They still make music. They still do.
They do. Shout out to LB, man. And then number 1, just before we get there, maybe like an hour or so before we get there, I guess it would be time-wise, I'm going to throw in that Jay-Z American Gangster to end out the trip. And that's another joint that you can play from front to back, start to finish. And that's another theme joint, and it's dope, from American Dreamin' to Sweet to I Know, Party Life,
I Know,
Say Hello,
I know.
Fallin'. That's a joint. That's a joint for real.
There's no skips on that album. I've always said that's the second best. People get mad at me when I say, I bypass everything, and that's second for me. Everybody knows what number 1 is, but American Gangster, because I was considering Jay-Z washed at that time. He proved me wrong.
Came out the woodwork, swinging. And was, I still got something left for y'all.
Had me banging in my old
Still
Lexus
got something for y'all.
That was a dope album, because the one before that was kind of weak. But that one was
the
dope.
Kingdom Come joint, right?
The Kingdom Come was whack. But that one right there was dope, though, man. I was like, all right, Jay-Z got in his bag. All right, man. Kingdom Come is super. Not Kingdom Come. American Gangster is super hard. So,
American Gangster is definitely a classic. That's a slept-on, underrated joint. If you have not heard American Gangster by Jay-Z, go check that out. E.
All right.
What you got for your? I don't know if you're gonna have 5 or you're gonna have 3.
I have 5. I got 5.
All right, break it down for us.
Because E.
And just keep in mind that E is a music guy. That's kind of his lane. You go to E crib if you happen to be able to go to E crib. He got a crazy library of music, and that's his bag for real.
Yeah. Now I drive a lot. Okay.
You do a lot of travel.
I do a lot of road trips and a lot of places throughout the country, and I need music. All right. So if I know I have a good day, and I just don't feel like going through my playlist. All right. The first one I'm going to start is with S.L.E.E.P the Prince, Ivy League.
S.L.E.E.P, okay.
You can go through that album from the front to the back.
Is that
getting on mixtape stuff?
So that's not his. Is that his debut joint?
Nah, I don't think Ivy League was his debut. It's just one of his many phenomenal mixtapes.
You can do mixtape. I got a mixtape on mine.
Okay.
One of the biggest things I remember about S.L.E.E.P the Prince is I don't know if this was around the time he first came out or he had already been out for a little while, but he went on an episode of Sway, and he live performed the whole project that he was just dropping, and I just remember that was very memorable.
That Ivy League, I can go from I don't have to hit no skip, no nothing.
Gotcha.
Juicy J, 100% juice.
Ooh, my man put out
Sorry.
some Juicy J.
That I can rock that CD from the beginning to the end with. You knew his dog. That girl that you fucking with is no good. Listen, you can listen to his skips. You can listen to his ad libs make songs. Okay,
Only thing about Juicy J is listening to a cat I'm not even gonna say that. Go ahead.
You can listen to the ad libs. That's one or two. That and Blue Dream. I'm gonna have to put them together. Those are 2 mixtapes because even though they say mixtapes, they're actually albums. Those are albums outside of the label. They just call it the mixtape.
No
but
doubt.
that's 2 of them that I can listen to. I'll just put those as one.
Okay.
Next is going to be the Sleepy Brown's Underground album.
Brown. Ooh.
The Vinyl Room. If you don't have it, you are losing. I can listen to that album,
but I heard about it.
You're not going to probably find it on. And you need to get on his social and figure out how you could get that album. Because if you don't have that album, and I think it came out in '98 or '97. I know I'm going back, but if you talk about albums you can listen to from the beginning to the end, that's one of them.
If somebody knows how to get to that Sleepy Brown album, DM us at Sleep Is For You. And we'll appreciate. We'll shout you out on the show.
Now you can find it on YouTube. It'll have the blue. It'll be purple. That was a masterpiece. You can listen to everything.
What's it called?
Shout out. It's called The Vinyl Room.
The Vinyl Room.
It's like I don't know if it was his first underground, whatever. But that album, oh my God. All right, so we knocked out 3. I'm gonna keep going. All right, we knocked out 3. So of course I can listen to Thriller from beginning to end on a road trip.
All hits, man.
Michael Jackson.
I can listen to Thriller from begin. I can let Thriller ride out. I ain't gotta hit
like
skip.
2-3 years or something.
I ain't gotta do nothing. And you know what I always finish my road trip with? And like I said, I'm older than you guys, but this is what I like.
What you got?
Earth, Wind, and Fire's live album.
There you go.
Any of them.
Okay. With the
one in Rio, any of those albums, because it's nothing like a live album when you're on the road, because now you can put yourself in that show.
Yep.
You could crank it up. You got the crowd. You feel the electric. You know, if you got it like me, I hit a little bit, but I don't. But anyway, that album, that's one of the albums that I can ride out.
Okay.
5 albums, but that's just me. I'm a little older than you guys.
Appreciate it, E. Coming through having a list off top.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To contribute to the top
Look, I'm
5.
on the road. I play that list all the time.
There we go.
It came easy.
All right. So Taylor, what you got?
I mean, I got a bunch of them, but I'm trying to narrow this down to 5. So
Okay.
number 5 is tough. Yeah, I mean, number 5, I have to, if I'm getting ready to go on a road trip, I got to start with Fake Thug, No Love. You get the slug, CP4, Gusto, you luck though. You didn't know that I have to start with It Was Written by Nas. I have to. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, but I have to. I want to make it, but I have that. And once you start that album from the beginning of the skits, when they playing his old music in the background, then that message comes on, and then you go. I mean, that album is just a masterpiece. That's always been my favorite Nas album. I mean, everybody loves Illmatic, but I think It Was Written. It was written is just and I like I said, I remember when I was a kid when that came out. That was just dope. You know what I mean? So his best famous song was at the end. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people put their first best song, that's on the radio, in the first 2 or 3. He put Lauryn Hill at the end. Like I thought that was just beautifully crafted as an album, because after you go with live nigga rap, you're like, oh. And you're like, oh yeah, I forgot the Lauryn Hill.
Yeah.
After you're a live nigga rap, you're like, oh man, do I gotta get a gun? Do I gotta rob somebody? Do I gotta go choke my dad? Like, what I gotta do? And
gotta go get the ski mask.
You know what I mean? And then if I ruled the world, I say, all right, he brings you back in. So It Was Written is just a really a great written album by Nas. Number 4. If I'm going to be like taking a southern trip, I have to go with my nigga Young Jeezy. I have to go with the first one though. The first one, 101.
Thug 101. You can ride that. You can ride that whole thing from one to the end.
I said, oh man, where are we going? Hit the kitchen. So I love that. That album is just like if you're driving down south, if you're in Virginia, you can kind of put that on right then and there. You know what I mean? So if I'm driving on a long trip, that's an album I'm putting on.
That intro gets you in a mode.
Yeah,
too.
it's gonna get you in a mode. We're like, I'm just so happy. You know what I mean, you'll be feeling good. You know what I mean? Now let's just say if I'm driving at nighttime, I need some R&B. I know people, he's canceled, but he's not canceled mine. I have to go with TP2.com. I'm sorry, man. Like, R. Kelly, that album, you can listen from beginning to the end.
Sorry.
Hit it hard from the back. Roll. No. It starts off, I'm about to make this. And I love TP2.com. From the greatest sex in the world to A Woman's Thread and I Wish.
I have not
that
had the
and 12 play. You can let 12 play ride too.
Yeah. That's it. And then at the end you get feeling on your booty.
That's going to best friend be a subject for another day. How do you feel about listening to people's music that's
it does. I mean,
done despicable things?
I can separate the artist from the artist from.
Hey,
I mean, it's no big deal.
We gonna get to that at some point in time. You can't be giving out spoilers now.
All right, number 2. This is like some recent stuff for me because this guy makes very, very good albums, and they're all on the phone right now. But I'm sorry, I'm gonna put in West Side Gun Fly God. I'm sorry, it's a little high, you know what I mean? But I'm putting in that Fly Guy because I like what like people think that he's not a rapper. He's just the nigga just saying a bunch of wild stuff, you know what I mean? So I can listen to one to like, and that's over an hour's worth of album. And I just think and that's one of their first albums from quote unquote Griselda. You know what I mean? That's before where they're at right now. That was a full put out album, and it sounds like they wasn't scrambling, but they were scrambling at that time. You know what I mean? So like, if you can get me an album and you're at your best, and you're still like
salute the Griselda.
Yeah,
If
you might
know
be.
us,
Yeah, you might be.
We've talked about that.
You might be in an apartment or something like that. That's a new one. I can listen to Fly Guy from beginning to the end, and you know what I mean, and just feel really, really good. But number one is a double disc, and I know you think, oh, Taylor gonna put Tupac. No, Taylor gonna put Biggie. No, Taylor gonna put Drake. No, Taylor gonna put the diplomatic immunity with all the diplomat. I love that album.
blue
I don't
disc and
care
the red
because it's
disc.
so long.
That joint is a
The
good
blue
like 2
disc, the
hours
red
of change.
disc, and it's just crazy. The skits in the middle with the phone calls and Freaky Z. Who this midget doodoo stain ass nigga? Like I just love that album, man. Like I'm sorry, man. The On Casa at the beginning when Killer just talking, nigga, you better spit, nigga. Don't be bullshit.
Yo, Cameron.
He was talking reckless.
Shout out to Cam. Cam had the funniest. He got the funniest skits
Yeah, the skits
in
were
hip hop.
hilarious.
All
I'm
I got
sorry.
is you, girl.
I got Tim's, dog. I got Tim's. He's like, yo, my kids listen to you. Can you please stop fucking my girl? He's like, yo, who is you? Yo, Cam got the man. You know
Cam
what?
definitely has some
I
of the
can listen to a
funniest skits.
Cam. I can listen to what was it? Purple Haze.
Purple
Man, I
Haze,
can
yeah.
listen to man. It's so many albums.
Yeah.
Y'all making me dig.
But
now.
diplomatic community.
Cam, if this comes across you because we bringing you up, I know you don't do interviews, but if we can ever get you on the show, I got a question for you that I don't think has ever been asked to you before. It's up to you what you want to do.
That's one of my favorite. I listen to the beginning and the end.
But I got a question for you.
They're swagged out. They talking reckless. They all young.
Anybody know Kim? Get that to Killer.
In their 20s, and Jim Jones, who I thought was trash, was actually spitting on that joint. You know what I mean? So that's my album where I can just rock it. I ain't got to worry about nothing. That's 2 hours of just fun for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I go to the gas station, I'm probably not gonna turn the car. I'm gonna let it keep running
let it
and
keep
play.
playing, 'cause the
And I
joint
might
is-
run back a couple songs because I like the DJ enough freestyle. Like that beat was just crazy. Like
That's what's
like that's what I like. I love MJ.
Now let me ask you this.
I love all those other people. I love Prince and all that stuff. But those are my albums I'm going to be rocking to.
Did you hear the J. Cole I'm Ready, a new version
Yeah, I
with
heard
Cam
it.
feature on? Did
Yeah, I
you
heard
like it?
Yeah, no, I didn't like it. No, I don't like J. Cole. Right now, me and J. Cole, I'm not rocking with J. Cole. He just annoys me, man. I just, you know what I mean? The hair, like, him just copping the play.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
not, like I said, the song was cool, but just when I first, I haven't listened back to that Delete Later, whatever. I haven't listened back to it because
Oh, my God.
I'm probably hating. I'm hating on
that
right
feels so that just feels so petty.
now. Yeah, I'm being
are you
petty.
a fan
I
of
love Taylor. You know that's my dude, but that feels
we know
very,
Taylor
very
can be petty. If you're a fan of the show, you heard Taylor be petty on the show before. It happens. It's a thing. Everybody could be petty. I could be a little petty sometimes, you know, a little bit, not too heavy. I'm not gonna like do nothing to nobody because I'm petty, but I've quit jobs because I was petty and stuff like that. But anyway, are you a fan of the Diplomatic Community album?
Yes.
Oh,
Are you a fan? Have you heard the J. Cole I'm Ready?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well,
You're not missing anything.
It's like a 2024 version.
You got to
of I'm
remember,
Ready.
E is on the downslide to 50.
That's right.
I'm
So-
on the
so
downslide to
he's
50.
not
I got
on a lot of
about
these young
3 years from
boppers.
50. So it's not that I don't listen to the young stuff, but I listen to things that feed my brain at this point in my life. And
I hear you.
now J. Cole is a great brain feeder for the youth. You should listen. I believe he has a lot of stuff to say, him and Kendrick and a lot of stuff. But I just, I'm stuck in my ways now, and I embrace all new music as a recording engineer, as a producer, as an artist myself. I embrace everything. So don't think I'm hating. I'm just in my lane.
No doubt. Very well put, E. All right, well, that's going to close out this episode's edition of Top 5. We hope y'all enjoyed that. If y'all want to throw a top 5 down in the comments, or y'all want to say what y'all want to say about our top 5s, feel free to do so, because we're here for it all. T, this week's episode, we are going to be getting your thoughts. So,
T's thoughts.
what you got to share with the people this week?
I ain't gonna hold you. It's not really about me. It's about E, man. E took us on a couple years ago. We were trying to,
My bad.
put the show. Mikey approached me with doing the show. I said, all right, fine, let's do it. And then within like a week and a half, he said, I found this real good producer. Her name is E. I was like, all right, cool. We kicked it with him. And I think the day we kicked it with him, we did our first show. I thought we were just meeting him.
I met E on a Saturday evening.
Yeah.
It was like a 7:30, something like that.
Yeah.
We did the first episode that Sunday, the next day.
Sunday. And I was like, oh.
And that was like the first week of the football season in 2019.
Yeah, and then we did it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is actually, the first show was cool, but as we got on, it was cool. He was it caught up to us, because me and Mike have been knowing each other for 30 years. He got right in, and it was cool, you know what I mean? So, and I've called this man, hey man, how you doing? Like, if Mikey talks to us, I tell E, I say, what's up? So it's about E, man, and the thing is that even though we live in this world where we are using the phone, you can naturally meet people and be cool and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? So that's all I want to say. Well, salute this man, you know what I mean, for he ain't know us from nothing, you know what I mean? He didn't go to school with us. He didn't go to, you know what I mean, I'm kind of breaking the third wall, but we literally just met this man, you know what I mean, and he rode out with us for like these past 5+ years. So I appreciate that, you know what I mean?
I met E because he had a post on Craigslist about studio time.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I had found E, and I had found this studio that was in Horsham. And at that point in time, I was staying at my parents' house in Willow Grove. So E was in Ardmore, other place was in Horsham. And I messaged both of them. E just so happened to get back to me first. Then the other boy got back to me, and the way E was talking to me in the message, I was just like, oh, okay, I kind of, you know what it is. So I hit up E, and I was like, listen, I'm trying to come check out your setup. I have something that I'm trying to do. And he had never done a podcast before. He was completely new to the concept and the idea. And we came together and put this thing together. I was looking at some video footage from when we had our first guest on the show, and we was passing the microphone back and forth between us during the interview because we only had 2 microphones. And like we definitely came from very humble beginnings, and to be where we at right now, we're not where we want to go. We're not where we want to be, but we're definitely moving in an upward direction. So that's a beautiful thing. And
you know what?
I got to salute E for all he did for us too, because like I said, our first 105 episodes, he was there with us. He was recording us. He was editing the episodes. He was sending me the audio, and I was uploading it and promoting it, and we was doing the best we could, and the best we could has continued to get better. So
cutting stuff out, I was saying, thank God. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, editing.
We had the bleeps going.
Editing Taylor used to be sometimes, and until I was like, look, we got to tone this down, because I found bleeps and. For you engineers out there, I edit podcasts. I record music in Pro Tools, but I edit podcasts. I record and edit podcasts in Logic. And just, I can move my bleeps, but having to mark because I'm lazy and I don't want to listen to the entire show. So what I would do is I would just, every time I'd have my finger on the button. Every time he says, deep, 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 I would put a mark. But when I started doing these counts, I was like, do you realize I had to edit Taylor 68 times?
And you know what he did when he realized how much the editing was? Yo, we got to renegotiate. we got to talk about these dollars and cents. So that
was a lot of work.
All y'all out there, man.
That was a lot of work.
When they switching up the work you got to do, when they switching up your workload, we got to talk about this money a little bit.
That workflow was taking a lot. But you know what? It was easy for me, to convert over to podcast production. If you're an engineer, you're an engineer. Yeah. And I've been an engineer for years, well before the Full Sail education. That was just extra in the military paid for. But shout out to Full Sail, because a lot of those skills helped me to be able to convert to podcasts very quickly. And so shout out to that. The education is paramount. Learn some stuff. Even if you got to go into YouTube, learn this stuff, because you never know how far. And that took me 105 episodes into with these guys, and plus other people that listened to their podcasts or seen the clips and was like, hey, so it definitely led off stuff. But these guys' chemistry from the gate amazed me, and I knew it was going to be easy for me to fit in. It was just great to watch you guys grow. It was some headaches in the beginning, or how's the show gonna go, or trying to deal with guests, even to putting more mics in there and stuff like that. But it's been a pleasure to watch you guys' show grow to what it's become, and like you do it's so effortlessly now. Not, you know what? Not that it was effort, that you guys had to really put in a lot of effort to be who you, because you're basically being who you are. Especially Taylor. I used to love he used to drive me nuts with these freaking edits, but it's he was being him, and he wasn't showing off for the show. He wasn't trying to put on the show. He was just unapologetically being him, and that's what made the content so great. Because I got some stuff when we were talking about potholes in the street with buckets and carts and all the way down. There's been some really great subject matters that have went through there. And I am very proud.
Old apps, man.
Yeah, them old apps are crazy, but I'm just so
it's all
glad
audio, but
to see you guys get to the point.
Take a long ride.
Yeah, it was some great stuff.
It was fun. Yeah. I can't do a teeth. It ain't about me. It's about this man taking a chance on us, having us in his quote unquote personal studio, and we made what we made. You know what I mean? So I'm always going to salute this man. You know what I mean? No matter what. You know what I mean? So it's more about him. I appreciate. Like I said, I appreciate this young black man.
I'm glad I got some skills, man.
Yeah, that's the power of creatives coming together, man.
Mm-hmm.
And
making something big, making something happen.
And an important thing for me was the professionalism also.
Oh yeah,
it was the professionalism with you guys also, because my level can be determined by your level of professionalism.
No doubt.
When you're doing what you do. So if you want to come through and not be serious, I can be that push button guy. All right, go ahead, do what you do. And I'm gonna let you do your thing. But when you come through and you're serious and you're doing your thing, it makes me want to work that much harder. And that was the thing, even though sometimes, and I used to hear it, oh man, you gotta renegotiate. You put into, you know how be real and say, you doing a lot for these, but you know what? I enjoyed it so much that business is business and we take care, but it was just, the show to me was just so fantastic. The episodes, the subject matters, like when we get into those deep discussions and that funny stuff, so it's, I'm glad to have been a part from the beginning, because I seen it from the beginning.
From the beginning. I told you, I met him on Saturday.
From the steel chairs.
We recorded our first episode on Sunday.
The ding-dings, the foldovers, and it was great.
And people told me from the beginning, before we started the show, like, yo, you can always record it yourself. You could do it yourself. And I was like, nah, like, I want to, at this moment, because this is something that I'm just starting. And I had just gotten out of school, out of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, maybe a little bit before that.
Right.
But it was something, so I had the know-how to do the recording and everything like that myself, do the editing myself. But I was like, nah, I want somebody who, like, that's what they do. That can be their specification. Like, we'll pay them the bread we got paying, we'll work it out and make it make sense for everybody. But I want somebody whose dedication is that. So my dedication can be to working on the content and to promoting and pushing what we got going on and getting it in front of as many people as possible and to as many ears as possible at that point in time, because like I said, it was all audio. We wasn't having a whole lot of video going on at that period. But you see where we are now, done graduated, we on YouTube, and soon maybe we might be some other places as far as the video goes, but you got to keep your ears and your eyes out for what we got going on. Follow the YouTube page at Sleep is For You. That's S.L.E.E.P.I.S, the number 4 Y-O-U, as well as the Twitter and IG pages. I'm sorry, that's X now, not Twitter, but that's at Sleep is For You as well. Look out for the audio episodes wherever you listen to audio episodes, whether it's Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, wherever you want to be, that's where we at. Go through sleepisforyou.net for anything sleep related, and you can also click the links through there to get to the episodes, audio, or YouTube page. If you have trouble searching for it and finding it yourself, we try to make it as simple for you to get to us and find us as possible. You can get to the merch through the website or through sleepisforyou.printify.me. And E, anything else you want to say before
All I
we check
want to
up out of
say,
here?
it's going to be a pleasure for me to say in front of the camera, you're live at the top shelf with Mike and Taylor on the Sports Life and Everything Else podcast. And it's been a pleasure. I am happy to be a guest. And y'all stay tuned because these guys are very special. Their subject matters, their delivery, their chemistry. That's all I can say. Thanks, guys.
T, anything else you have for the people?
Nothing, man. Thank you, E, for coming through, being the first guest. We wouldn't have it no other way without you being the first guest.
Appreciate
thank
it,
y'all
man.
for listening and watching. Like and subscribe, and we see y'all soon.
Definitely thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. We appreciate everybody that watches us on YouTube or that listens through an audio streaming service because we always try and get our numbers up higher and higher. It's all about getting bigger and better every day, just a little bit, every week, just a little bit, every month, just a little bit, because when you add up all them little bits, you done gone a long way. But that's going to do it for us. Checking with us next time we with you. Water.
You need more sleep.
Excellence! Yeah. We back. Yeah.
The GP will see you now.
Look, free to return to that emo rap. Ain't no kilo stash. Augusta's son had to reload that. Daddy gone, but his legacy strong. How do you figure? I too thought I'd be dead, all things considered, but I'm living, thriving and growing, fighting opponents that I'm with it. Striving to know who died for the lowest, don't you get it? The industry hope is trying to control us, I ain't with it. I got me a goal that's highly explosive with my wife and my baby. What I'm writing is weighty. Call me S.O. or Bebenberg, they knighted me lately. Stand where the light is, feeling lighted, delighted, and maybe I'm getting grown. Nothing wrong with Bible and Baileys. I open up the text, got my mind closer off the edge. Goes the architect. I ain't gotta go to your connect. I gotta go direct. Him and I through the sun.